Hey everyone, I'm Ant and welcome to Sunday Stupid Sunday, and today we're going to meet, well, probably one of the bigger poster boys for stupid in America right now. He goes by the name of Scott Jensen, and we're going to talk about him in just a second. Everybody, do me a favor, as this is a brand new channel, and hit that subscribe button below. It will help the YouTube algorithm to find me and share me with more people. Thanks everyone, and let's get going. Alright guys, Dr. Scott Jensen. Who is he? Have you ever heard of him before? Probably not. He's not really that special of a guy. He's a family doctor in Minnesota who ran for office in 2016 and actually became a senator. He was elected to the Minnesota Senate. He served up until 2019 when he stated that he would not run for re-election in 2020. Fair enough. And it's very likely because Dr. Scott Jensen started sniffing the crazy glue. Not even kidding you here. He was theoretically a well-respected family doctor, but he became a very strong and powerful voice in the anti-vaccine, anti-mask, and anti-COVID crusade that has been headed by none other than Donald Trump. He is one of those doctors who provided Trump with fuel for the fire that was complete and utter misinformation and, in fact, lies. Now, one of the things that he talked about was the fact that the numbers of COVID deaths had been misrepresented, and that doctors were being told to blame everything on COVID because they got more money for dead COVID patients than they got for dead cancer patients, for example. What? Completely ridiculous. So many things were debunked. He considers vaccines to be a method of the government to control the population. But let's just see, it's really telling when even Wikipedia has some pretty good stuff about you. Let's take a look here. So Jensen received notoriety for his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. PolitiFact cited him as a major contributor to their Lie of the Year 2020. Coronavirus Downplay and Denial. The report states Fox News featured a guest who opened a new misinformation assault on hospitals. Dr. Scott Jensen, a Minnesota physician and Republican state senator, told Ingram that because hospitals were receiving more money for COVID-19 patients on Medicare as a result of a coronavirus stimulus bill, they were overcounting COVID-19 cases. He had no proof of fraud, but the cynical story took off. Trump used the false report on the campaign trail to continue to minimize the death toll. And this continues on. He went on and on to say that the numbers were being overinflated and that the vaccines were using children as guinea pigs and were mind control and etc. The same old shtick. And people like Donald Trump, people in power, really took this to heart. But what I'm really, really confused about is how this guy got elected anyway. Like, he is all sorts of crazy, and it's not even just about the vaccines and the coronavirus specifically. He recently gave a public speech and talked a bit about ivermectin. The talking points that this man makes in a public speech, trying to seem like a professional and someone who is interested in politics, and once again, from my understanding, is running for a seat in Congress, he comes off as a crazy person. But don't take my word for it. Have a look at this video and see what he's actually talking about.
But if someone wants to sort of demean or diminish ivermectin, which they do on social media, I noticed. If someone wants to say, well, it's just a horse dewormer. Well, actually, it's not. It's a human dewormer, too. And if you think that's something to sneeze at, go get some worms and have them creep out of your anus at night, and you might wish you had some ivermectin. There's a lot of you folks in here that don't remember the Scotch tape test. I remember it. I remember being about 5 years old, and I remember Mom laying me on my belly, going to bed at night, and she'd put a piece of Scotch tape, double it around, stick it by my anus, and said, we'll check it in the morning. And if we had worms on it, I had pinworms, and then I got treated. It's not so bad.
Okay, people, you heard it from the horse's ass. I mean, the horse's mouth. He was talking about ivermectin and how it has such a bad reputation. You notice he didn't ever mention anything to do with COVID treatment, which is what people are taking it for, even though that's not what it is used for. It is used for worms and parasites that live inside your body. And yes, it was designed as an animal, a veterinary medicine for veterinary application, but it was also effective in humans, so a doctor could prescribe it for intestinal worms and nasty, disgusting things that live inside of you. Dr. Scott, though, took it a step further. He told us about the good old days when his mom used to take a ball of tape or a piece of sticky tape and stick it to his asshole. And then in the morning, she'd wake up and look and go, oh, look, you have worms. Look at you, lucky you. Now we can go to the doctor and figure it out. I sincerely hope that this method is still not in use, though I suppose if it works, it works. I did do a little fact checking and look it up. You might not want to do this yourself, people. It was nasty. It does exist, and there are pictures, real life pictures that show some shit that ain't shit, and it's not. That's all I want to say is it's nasty. But my point is, what kind of moron, what kind of utter stupid idiot talks about tape on his asshole when he's trying to come off as a serious politician, as a family doctor? This should not be one of the talking points to get himself elected. I mean, obviously, he's anti-vaccination. He's obviously anti-mask. He's also very, very obviously sanity and reality when it comes to infectious diseases. The fact that he is a doctor frightens me, and it should frighten everybody else, because this kind of stupid not only made it to being a doctor, but he made it to be a senator, and now he wants to be in Congress. He might end up being the next Donald Trump. Be afraid, people. Be really afraid. This kind of stupid doesn't come along very often, but boy, oh boy, when it does, it does good. So yeah, there you go. I hope you learned a lot about anal worms from Dr. Scott, and I sincerely hope to God that this man never gets elected again. These people need to be locked up where they can't hurt people. They should not be giving medical or political advice to anybody. But that's all I've got for you today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me on my brand new channel, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you for subscribing.